Hey guys, this is Caspi with Tape, and today you join me for episode 19 of Fall of Kerbin, and we start launching a P-3B Python bound for the seas of Asir, because there is a battleship heading our way. Yes, Penguin's navy will now be coming north to try and take Osiris Fortress, and we cannot allow that, and there is a battleship coming over from Azamek, but no, from the other one, from the Penguin's northern naval base, to try and bolster his navy, and we cannot allow that, so we're sending ourselves a little attacker to try and split it apart with some armor-piercing bombs. We've had huge success with this in the past, but with a slightly more damaged battleship, so now we're just moving in on the KUS Franco, doing a little bit of a dive bomb, dodging this 4-inch flak fire. Well, no, not even flak fire, these are naval rounds, high explosive. Really worrying, didn't know they have that kind of range, but yeah, they can shoot pretty much from 8 kilometers, which makes them fantastic AA guns. My controls freak out, so I have to switch to this probe core while everything's falling apart, but it looks like it's targeting the bomb now. The bomb goes off, but it doesn't look like it's done any damage. I was wondering what happened, because it looked like it hit deck plating, but even I made sure the cheats weren't on. And then, yeah, it looks like it splashed down, though. It hit the water just next to the ship, which means it'll do basically nothing. An armor-piercing bomb to a big ship will do almost nothing unless it hits deck plating squarely. So you'll see sometimes, oh, now it's starting to fire at me. I was like, why isn't it firing at me? And then I checked, and I was like, oh, it is. Yeah. So basically an armor-piercing bomb will do nothing to a big ship, or probably any ship, unless it hits deck plating squarely. If it hits water near it, if it hits guns, even if it hits superstructure, it'll do pretty much nothing. That's why they have such kind of inconsistent effect in Fall of Kerbin. So yeah, we still have 2 more of these to send in if we so choose, which we do so choose, because we need this to be sunk. I reckon I could probably hold off Penguin's navy if I, deploy well. Prepare, but I do want to be sinking any of his reinforcements because, there's quite a lot of stuff coming for us. Anyway, we land the plane, and we're going to send in another one, and it is appearing now above the Franco, getting ready to drop a bomb. It's much easier to send these one by one, because those 4-inch guns are actually pretty savage. I didn't realize they'd be so effective. They were on my battleship as well, but that was pretty short-lived, hence it being a really dumb-looking battleship. Anyway, yes, the rounds start flying in, which are quite terrifying. They get pretty close. I'm not sure how effective they are. I haven't been hit yet, but again, they're getting pretty close. So we're going to try and line this up a little better, try and get that bomb right somewhere on target. I was aiming for the front because there goes the bomb. I am aiming for the front because that's where there's the most exposed deck armor, but it is where the ship is smallest. Maybe I should try and hit some superstructure first and soften it up. What I really should have done is, we got a good hit there though. It doesn't look like it's done any damage though. It must have hit a gun or something. What we really should have done, as I was going to say, is fire some torpedoes first. But I was kind of, again, sort of feeling it out a little bit. It'll be a while before the Franco's here, and even longer before the rest of Penguin's fleet moves north. So we have a little time, but yeah, it would have been nice to do a little more damage. The flak fire comes in, but we have no trouble avoiding it because we're at decent range now and we're moving pretty fast, and it fires in pretty slow bursts, so you can see it and then just move. I do take a look at the Franco. It has hit and has heated some things up, but it must have just kind of exploded on the deck, not inside the ship, which is what you really want, because that'll do some serious damage. So yes, maybe I should do some torpedo running next time. I haven't really had a ton of experience with it, but yeah, it's been very useful for the Kruolans. Anyway, but I was just kind of had a little faith that I'd be able to kind of tear it apart with bombs like I did last time, but again, it had a much clearer deck last time. Anyway, you can see how long I have to deal with this flak fire for, but anyway, we do get back. It'll land on the kind of, in the evening. It's getting late, so we'll probably take the night off and then go in and bomb again, because we can't be having this ship making its way to Osiris Fortress, because they're pretty deadly. I mean, a battleship is pretty serious. They can start firing very accurately from very far away. They can absorb a lot of damage. I mean, I almost sunk a ship ridiculously outnumbered last time just with a battleship, so we really don't want this there, because that'll probably lose us the battle for Osiris Fortress. Of course, I could just deploy a battleship, and probably will. But, I mean, still, it would be nice if Penguin didn't have one. Anyway, we got our wing shot off by one of these 4-inch guns, which is annoying. I basically try to line up the bomb, but it's hard to do. because I only have one wing. That was a really precise shot, it just ripped off one wing. I start opening up with my 50s, because why not? Might hit something. Try and steer this into a kamikaze, but it looks like I'm just going to hit the ocean. The bomb totally misses the battleship, but inexplicably hits the supply ship, totally destroying it. It still has its cockpit, but everything else is destroyed. So that is the sum of 3 bombing runs, a destroyed supply ship today. And that is all of the attacking we will do. It was not entirely unsuccessful, but not great. Anyways, you just saw we've moved to Rockdale. If you remember from last episode, our 2 centaurs from the island chain were in retreat because there are Kruolans coming in. So we're defending our southern city of Rockdale. It's actually a much smaller city than Osiris Bay. I thought it was fairly similar when I built these cities, which I actually put out the whole map together myself with Kerbal constructs. But yeah, it turns out this is a much smaller city, which makes it kind of a little harder to defend with tanks, because it's harder to kind of find places to hide. But now the 2 medium tanks, the C2 Centaurs, are holed up in Rockdale, waiting to defend it if they need to, because there are multiple paths Penguin could take to try and get to Cathenia's Heart, which is my main base, and this is one of them around the south. But if he has to punch through this city, he'll have some trouble, because we've got our Centaurs in there now, and they're fierce tanks, incredibly difficult to damage. If you've seen them in combat before, which I'm sure you have through my videos, they are pretty serious, and they can't stay there by themselves, so I've sent a couple of supply units down there to meet them, put some AA out there, maybe some 20 mils and a 76 or something, basically to shoot down any planes that head in to try and bomb them out. Of course, I can only launch 2 supply units now because Osiris Bay is destroyed. I could go and repair it, but I'm in a bit of a... Basically, to repair it, it'll take 3 supply units, and if I send it... and I can only send in 2 now, and then Penguin will bomb it next turn, and I'll have to send in even more, and basically it'll just suck up all of my supply units. I mean, also it would mean that Penguin would just have to bomb the city, which I guess would be tactical. But basically, I've elected, at least this turn, just to send these down there and put out some AA defenses, because if I'm fixing this city for 3 turns, and then, the Kruolans roll in with their planes, well, flying with their planes, and I don't have any AA, that's going to be a serious problem. So I have elected to go ahead, act as if we are only on 2 supply units, and send these down there. They'll be there next turn, because it's a bit of a trip from Cathenia's Valley, as you can see here. Anyway, talking of Cathenia's Valley, this will be our main point of defense in the north. Basically, this is probably where Penguin will be coming through to get to Cathenia's Heart. This is my medium base before Springwood, my other city, and then after Springwood, there is Cathenia's Heart, which is my main base. So we've deployed a C2 Centaur here, and there's already the emplacements. We've also got both of our attackers here, because, well, we want them here defending the skies. Basically, yeah, this could be where a lot of the battle takes place, because this is something Penguin probably needs to take if he's going to assault from Valley's Guard, or even actually from Messiah's front. This is a pretty pivotal base. So we've just deployed the 1 C2 Centaur, because there won't be anything here next turn, because the distances are too long. So yeah, they should be fairly safe here. I'm just slowly building up forces, because we do need tanks other places, so that's just why there's just 1 here today. But anyway, moving over to Osiris Fortress. We've deployed 2 more C2 Centaurs, just waiting for any assault that comes from Messiah's front, because that could be potentially a problem. Osiris Bay, by the way, that's still defended by 1 light tank and a couple of emplacements, and the Python from last turn, which shot down Penguin's bomber. That was a great victory. That was a fantastic move by that fighter. Proved itself worthy, although it may be replaced soon. So yeah, I actually have a shit ton of tanks right now. I have 5 medium tanks and a light tank. Penguin does not have that kind of force. Anyway, the main assault probably on Osiris Fortress will be naval. I doubt there's going to be a ground invasion from Messiah's front. I am just preparing for the worst. But yes, so we are deploying our ships. We brought our 3 cruisers back, the USS Mayfair, the USS Spartan, and the USS Fortitude. We've also deployed the USS Titan, our new aircraft carrier, loaded with 3 P-7B Corsairs, which are obviously my attackers, for bombing any ships that may come here or shooting down any planes that may come here. We've also deployed 2 frigates, the USS Vanguard and the USS Centaur, named for our tanks because they're so glorious they deserve to have a ship named after them. Yes, those are 2 frigates, because there are a lot of submarines in the ocean right now, which is to Penguin's advantage. So if they roll through here, well, I guess kind of whatever submarines do, kind of sink through here? I don't know. Anyway, if they come here, basically, we're going to drop some depth charges on them and fuck them up. So yeah, we've got our defenses pretty nicely laid in. Osiris Bay still lightly defended. We've got Osiris Fortress heavily defended. It's going to be a pretty savage battle if Penguin wants to take it. I think he's underestimated how much fight we're going to put in. And there'll also be a big diversification of my navy to try and hold off all of the different ways he'll attack. Probably a light cruiser next turn or something. Yeah, and also we've got, tanks fucking everywhere. Penguin may be taking a lot of land, but he has 2 heavy tanks right now. I have 5 medium tanks and a light tank. Yeah, I also have air dominance. So, I mean, it's not looking great, but I've got a lot of units. So yeah, anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this, and I hope you'll come back for next episode where we'll push back against the Kruolans and take the fight to their land. Probably not. But anyway, for now, this is the end of the video, and if you want to go check out a couple more videos, there's my most recent episode of Prison Architect, in which there's another fucking riot. How does this keep happening? There's also my most recent episode of Fighter Jet Showdown. There's also links to my Twitter, Twitch, and Patreon in the description if you're interested. But as always, I hope you've enjoyed this. This has been KSP with Tape. I will see you next time.